In this demo, we will take a relook at the build process to understand certain smaller details. So let's get started. In our OE demo app, as you come down, you could see a markdown file called polymer-build. Let us observe this guide to understand certain smaller details about the Polymer's build process. So to start with, the big change is that the Polymer three elements are also developed similar to the node modules in Node.js. So you could observe that these are .js files, and so therefore you are doing this import. For example, using this import statement, you are importing the Polymer element class from this particular module. Observe that the et polymer/polymer is the name of the npm package. You could verify that fact by going to this client's node modules folder. You could say that there is a et polymer here, and inside that there will be another folder called polymer, and this polymer-element.js is actually coming from here, right? So this is the module of Polymer, which is packaged in the form of a node module that is being actually used to import the Polymer element from here. So in case you are purely working with a Polymer application, you would call this Polymer serve command in order to see that the build is made and elements are instantiated in the browser. So when you call the Polymer serve command, it is internally going to call the Polymer build, and that is how the Polymer CLI functions. And also note that the Polymer build command essentially depends on this polymer.json file present in the application's root folder, and using this it actually generates the build folder. So you could see that in the root of this particular application there is a polymer.json which is available, and using this the Polymer build is going to serve and build this particular folder called build, and this is where all the artifacts which we have been requested will be rendered from. You can also note that the root entry is the folder. This is the client folder which needs to be copied, and then it should be made as part of the build. And the entry point for this is index.html, and there's a shell, app shell that we have discussed in the last video. That's what is going to be used here. And these are the folder and file sources which should be definitely copied to the client folder as part of the build process. And this is where you could document your external dependencies, and you could also enable or disable the minification process and then bundling. So this is the kind of configuration information that polymer.json contains, which will be used by the Polymer build command. So far as the OEC Next applications are concerned, there are two possibilities here. One option is development build without bundling. The second option would be to build a production build with bundling. These are the two options. Now, when we are going with the development build without bundling, that's what we are trying to do when you say Polymer build. What it is essentially doing is it is mapping these particular elements from the relative path perspective. So that's what is you could see that there's a dot here and node module. So you are actually using the relative path mechanism to resolve this particular element. On the other hand, when you are building a production build with bundling, so when you write this statement, import Polymer element from so and so place, after this build, the plumbing code gets written in the form of export const Polymer element, and this is how the construction takes place. And also note that the OEC Next uses gulp as the bundler for its applications. In nutshell, if you refer to this app shell.js, all these imports that you are seeing here need to be resolved to their respective node modules from the etPolymer folder, and the build process needs to dynamically convert all these entries into a resolvable node modules, and that is where the imports will happen. And all these entries which are common to all the application will be imported as part of the app shell, just in case you are going for the bundling post production. Those modules, all of them are available for the app shell.